first met this student when he was a baby because I'm acquainted with his parents. And I have been kind of following some of his challenges throughout the years. Before he came to my class, I spoke with his first grade teacher. I'm the second grade teacher. And asked him how he was doing. She said that he was not on grade level for reading, that he didn't talk very much, but she could see that he was growing and learning, just not on grade level. It's like, okay. And then he came to my class, and I noticed some of the same things I knew about him as his parents' friend. I had some of those same challenges. And so the three big things that I really noticed were that he did not like to interact with people. In our class, we work in small groups, and he sat with his group but never talked to them. When I asked him a question, he would give me a mumbled, quick answer, wouldn't make eye contact, never participated in discussions with his table group or within the whole class. The second thing is that he was unable to read. Now, he's receiving Barton tutoring here at our school, which addresses symptoms of dyslexia. He has not been diagnosed with it, but he was showing some of the markers for it, and so we have been giving him this special kind of tutoring. And so his tutor was telling me that he was struggling to learn the sight words. She wanted to introduce those things to him, and he was very resistant, to the point that he was rude to her. And so we had a meeting about that, the student and the tutor and I. And in the middle of this, he's mumbling answers, pacing back and forth, not making eye contact. Finally, he says, "This conversation is over." And though I wanted to laugh because he sounded so adult, I told him that the conversation was not over and that that was a rude way to behave. So we talked a little bit more, and we finally just wasn't going anywhere with him. So we ended, and we changed how we introduced sight words to him. It started coming up on his spelling list. He is not the only Barton student I have in class. I have 6 others, and so they have their own spelling list. And so I started introducing sight words that he's supposed to be learning, as well as the other kids, onto this list. We called his mother, and we told her how to support that at home. And so he started learning those at home, even though he was not very happy about it. So, and then the third thing that I noticed about him was his handwriting. And so I have a sample of his handwriting before he started getting brain training. This is what it looked like. This is probably early in the year, about September, maybe early October. Pretty messy. And then this is the current day handwriting. This was actually from today. And so you can see that he's organizing it better. You can see that he's got it, the words spaced properly. It's still messy, but it's so much neater than what he was doing before. That's huge. He had a habit of making words and letters backward, not words, letters and numbers backwards. And I've seen less and less of that also. So at first, I didn't know he was getting the brain training. And one day I was sitting at my center, and I hear him at his table say, "Guys, we're a team. We have to work together." And I kind of just looked over there like, who just said that? I was shocked. And then I began to notice that he had a sense of humor that I had never seen before. So the kids moved from station to station, and there's five stations for reading. And we were talking about the vocabulary word cartographer, because the kids were talking about maps. At each station, they were doing different things. And he got to my station, and he sat down, and he turned away from me, not completely away, but so that just the side of his face is to me. And I said, what's going on? He's like, "I don't want to do this." And I said, "Yeah, I get that. You're getting tired. I know." I said, "But, that's why we come to school, is to do work." He says, and he turns back around and he starts the work. And then when the time's up, I I ask them to stop. I give a clap. They stop. They fold their hands. And then we use the vocabulary word has to be used in a sentence. So I called on him. I said, I'm going to ask you next to tell me to use cartographer in a sentence. So you be thinking. So I went around, asked another kid, and then came back. Are you ready? And he says, the cartographer is tired of making maps. And then I just started laughing because that is funny. And he started laughing because he knew he was funny. And I was like, this kid has a sense of humor. And then one day after a station, he looked over on the floor and another student had her box just all out everywhere. It was just a big mess. And he just got up on his own and cleaned it up for her. I had never seen him do something like that. One, notice, but then step out his way to do something for another student that's outside of his, his responsibility. Nobody even asked him. These are the huge changes I've seen in him. So now he interacts with the other students at his table. He's constantly talking to them. And we have a morning meeting probably every other day. And in the morning meeting, the kids have to say something they like or appreciate about the kid on the right of them. And so he always gives something insightful, something beyond, hey, I like your shirt, or you play basketball, or something like that. He'll say something like, you're a really hard worker. I like the way you get your homework done and you're able to go to, the next center without having anything left over. He'll say stuff like that, or he'll say, you're a really good Foursquare player and I like playing with you. I mean, I just think this stuff is really, really huge. And he's very articulate. He'll bring things for show and tell when it's his turn, and he tells these elaborate details about the things that he's brought in. And he brought in like a snake skin. He has a rock collection. I mean, all these really cool things that he's bringing because he knows the other kids will be interested. He is reading now fluently. He's not quite at grade level yet, but he's there. And so when my mentor teacher came and she was listening to my group, she said, why is he in this group? Because it was my lowest group. And so I was like, because he just started reading. I mean, it's just like that. He just has started to take off. And he's just gobbling it up. And then the other day, we were reading together in the group. And he says, oh, to the kid next to him, this is a sight word. And so he recognized the sight words that he was so resistant about from his own spelling list. And when I start the spelling test, he always writes the sight words. He's got them down. He knows I'm going to ask. He writes at least one of them down before I even ask, so that he can be done with the test first. It's super cute. And then yesterday, that we were working on the poems. And so he asked to use his composition book, and that's when he really noticed. He noticed that his handwriting was so much better. And we talked about how the words are not as crowded anymore and everything, and he was super excited about that. So his progress has made me feel like I'm the most amazing teacher ever, but I'm not. It's like the perfect storm of things that have gone on in his life, and it's like this brain training came along, and it's like push the on button. And everything with that kid is just blossoming. He is just popping out. He's funny, engaging, everything that you want your kid to be. And so I appreciate how much that I've been able to be a part of watching him grow. So all I'm doing is giving him stuff. And now he's just taking off. He's amazing. He's really amazing. And I love that he's so much aware of how things are fitting together. And he's really ready to assist. And I guess the last thing that I really have appreciated about him is how much he notices. He notices details where before he was so closed and so in his own world. And now he's just seeing everything. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Wendy Norvell, teacher extraordinaire in lovely Fresno, California. This is Linda Guzman Ellenberger of Elevate Brain Training signing out. Thanks a bunch, Wendy.
You're welcome.